But today, finally, me and Carson, after weeks of saying we'd get a guest on, I mean, I say weeks, it has been weeks.
It's been a lot of weeks.
We finally had one of our viewers get in contact and say, look, hey, can we do a hotline? Can you go through my business? Can we talk about what we're up to and see if you guys can help? And so Vince, say hello. How are you doing?
First of all, I'm super grateful to be here. I'm a dedicated viewer from day one. If anyone's watching this and they don't follow Carson on LinkedIn, Luke, I'm not familiar with your LinkedIn game, but follow him. Started a DTC business this year. Ads is obviously a key pot that we need to activate and take advantage of. And Carson has been a huge asset for me. Just reading his posts, that's how I started watching this podcast. You guys have some great chemistry. I'm super thankful to be one of the early viewers in the early days. I'll be able to say I went on that podcast before Zuckerberg himself get on here. I'm going to say, hey, I was I was the first ever guest. I'm really appreciative of what you guys are doing. It's legitimately very helpful for me, and I feel like I'm the exact target market. And it's just it's nice, to the point, free information that I really resonate with. So I appreciate it, and I really hope you guys keep it up.
Oh yeah, we don't plan on stopping. But Vince, it's great to have you, brother. I know we've been talking for a couple months now, and I really like your guys' brand. So I'm glad you reached out with the idea, because I think it's super cool, different format for us to do, and also something that helps us provide value to probably more people who are in similar positions. But we want to take a second too to let you introduce yourself. Like, who are you? What's your story? Tell us about your business. Kind of go into that, because I think your story is pretty on par with most entrepreneurs out there.
Yeah. So I was a pretty normal guy. Played high school sports, went to college, was in a fraternity. I always had the entrepreneurial nick, that just the desire to have my own thing. I never knew what I was going to do, but if someone asked me in seventh, once I realized I wasn't good enough to go to the NFL, I started walking around saying I was going to start my own business. I didn't know what it was going to be, but I was always kind of just I had the ambition, I had the desire to wake up and control my own schedule and just create things. I do better in that kind of format. So at the end of college, I was kind of like, all right, I'm about to go work at EY, which is a big accounting company, just be typical, whatever. But I kind of had this feeling that if I don't make something happen soon, nothing's ever going to happen. So right after I graduated college, I'm kind of just trying to figure out, what business can I start? What can I do? I had a couple other great people who were with me at the time who had similar mindsets. And we started this event called Saturday Speeches, where you could come and give a presentation on any subject that you wanted to. Just kind of like Saturday morning, you come, we have a whiteboard, we got a PowerPoint, you can come present on any topic that you wanted to, from your religious beliefs to how to cook a steak, to how to run a marathon, to how to create great meta ads, any topics on the table. And I one time had given a presentation on the negative impact of synthetic clothing and polyester on men's health, specifically men's underwear. I wasn't, I had dabbled pretty hard in entrepreneurship before this. I started a small technology consulting business as well. So I was pretty familiar with how to get a business off the ground, at least at the fundamental level. But I wasn't thinking this is going to be a company. Let me do some market research. Let me probe the guys in the crowd. But the crowd was about a dozen, young men, and they were all like, whoa, this is a problem that kind of frustrates me. I didn't know about it. Now that I'm aware, I want the solution. Vince, what's the solution? And my answer was, I don't really have one for you. That's not to say that that's when I created Gotchies, which is an organic underwear company for men. We call ourselves a healthy underwear company. Luke, for some context. But it's not that other organic underwear companies didn't exist, but I felt like it wasn't mainstream enough to where most people knew about it. They weren't aware of the scientific impact of synthetic clothing on their health. And once they found out about it, they would want to know about it. So that's just kind of where the business light bulb went off, and, we kind of took it and ran with it. So here we are now. And then it goes from, hey, I need to sell underwear, I need to create this product, to I need to understand advertising. I need to understand meta ads. I need to understand who my consumer is, where they're at, what are they doing, what do they care about, how do I resonate with them? So obviously I've learned a lot. When you start a business, I'm sure you guys are in the same boat. You think it's X, and then you need to learn about every other letter in the alphabet along the way. So that's kind of where I am at with meta ads. And I'm deep in the advertising game. I've really grown to love it and be interested in it. Trying to relate to and understand my customer has been super interesting, because my customer is not who I thought they were when I started the company, right? I'm a totally different kind of person. So that's a little bit more background about me. But we launched in January. We've been running advertising campaigns since probably July, legitimately. And I would say in the last 6 weeks, we've gotten a decent understanding. We were pathetically bad. We had no idea what we were doing. Pathetically bad, just total idiots, like running ads to the Instagram page, not to the website, you know what I mean? Just all kinds of disastrous stuff. But now we're getting a little bit of confidence. We kind of feel like we know what we're doing. We kind of feel like we know where our customer is. And now we're kind of looking, how do we scale this? And how do we continue to make new things that be seen by more customers that they're going to like more and want to spend more money? So we're kind of entering phase 2, I would say, of the business.
That's awesome. That was a great intro, first off.
Yeah.
But I also, before we kind of get into like our questions to better understand, you know, where things are at and how we can help you on this hotline episode, I want to take a second to circle back to something you just said, Vince, which is you've gotten to love the advertising game more. And I think that's super important for all founders, because not only do you need to know how to advertise your business, but you need to learn how to advertise yourself. And like all this stuff on like organic social media is advertising. It's just not paid.
Right.
Right. So it's learning to advertise who you are and why you stand for what you stand for, why your product is the way it is, you know, who you are as a person. Luke and I talk about this often. Like advertising, people think is just a paid medium to get sales, when like there's different forms of advertising, like investing or investor. Like when you're looking for investors, you're still advertising yourself, right? Promoting yourself to get money. So I think that's one really cool and makes me very happy to hear, because I'm an addict to advertising. But yeah, Luke, you wanna kick us off with some of these questions or add any notes?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think it's very difficult when, I think, again, you know, when you start a business, you, as you saying, Vince, very clever, very astutely, you know, you think X, but it's actually Y. And I think for a lot of companies, you know, they'll build a business, but it's actually a marketing game a lot of the time. And I think what is really exciting is you've learned those mistakes early on. You've seen what went wrong. I mean, sending traffic to the Instagram page. I mean, well, I've heard that so many times that it does make me laugh. It really does. But the thing is, I think with learnings, you never do them again, but you learn why it went wrong, right? Because also as well, it could have been a world where that could have worked really well as a possibility. I think a lot of people make assumptions too early. So thank God that assumption's been taken off the table. But who do you help?
We help both men and women, because they purchase for men who are typically kind of deeper in the weeds of the non-toxic lifestyle, right? Who are thinking about replacing their everyday goods, and they've said they're probably working out, they're probably eating a little bit better, and they're ready to make that next step. Like they don't want toxic products in their life. We help them put a clean pair of underwear in the morning that they can have confidence that the materials that it's made of do not contain pesticides, toxic dyes, chemicals that are shown to impact health, the environment, a cleaner pair of fabric that they can trust. We help them obtain peace of mind that what they're putting on in the morning is not going to negatively impact their life, I would say.
Okay. But I'm intrigued because you said because you were saying, I found it interesting from your story, you were saying how you knew there were other solutions out there in the sense of like other underwear brands. How do you think you've differentiated there from how you're helping?
The number one way that we differentiate product base is with an organic cotton wrapped waistband. I'm not sure what kind of underwear you're wearing right now, Luke. If you feel it right.
Me, I love that. I am wearing not very good quality underwear right now.
Yeah, there's probably, if you feel it, I'm assuming you're going to feel a plastic waistband, right?
Yeah.
With a logo ingrained on it. That's what almost every underwear has. It just feels kind of gross. It's made out of straight elastane, which is like plastic stuff. You kind of have to have an elastic waistband for a pair of underwear to fit well, but we wrapped ours in organic cotton so that only the good stuff is touching your body from a waistband perspective. And also, a lot of organic underwear is like designed and marketed to the environmentalist. You know what I'm saying? Like we're taking this from more of a health approach. So we're marketing to athletes. We're marketing to people who do marathons and play football and play lacrosse and who do MMA, right? And who want to wear a product that they can use in an intense exercise and also have confidence in. Because when you think of sports, you think of Under Armour compressions, right? You think of straight polyester. You don't think of, I'm going to go get organic cotton. Isn't organic cotton sold to like the hippie environmentalist who's like meditating in the woods? Like it's not for the guy who's trying to go box. We're saying, hey, that's a scam. You can actually wear this in anything you want to do, including intense exercise. And you can have confidence that while you sweat, you're not going to be inserting microplastics and toxic dyes into your balls.
First, I have 3 pairs and they're awesome to work out in. Like I was wearing them the other day and I completely forgot I was wearing organic cotton underwear. I thought I was wearing like my typical compressions. But Vince, going into like kind of circling back to, again, what you were talking about in your intro was your customer is not who you thought they were. Who did you guys originally think that your audience was or was going to be?
I started this a year out of college. The main people I was talking to was, ex-fraternity brothers, people in my peer group, right? So that's the feedback that I'm getting. I thought that was gonna be my customer, was like the guy who is my age, who cares about health, who is now working corporate, has some money. Uh, but it turns out our customer is actually 45 to 65-year-olds who have higher levels of income and who care about health and wellness, organic foods, sports and fitness. So it's really just an age thing. It's the same kind of like our customer. The only reason my customer is not the customer who I thought it was is because they will be in 20 years. You know what I'm saying? It's just they're not in a lifestyle position where they're willing to make a premium purchase on underwear. They're interested, but they're not buying at the scale that I predicted them to, you know?
It's more of an awareness audience than an intent audience.
Yeah. Yeah. Like they want it. And if someone gave it to them as a gift, they would love it, but they're not in position to go out and make that kind of purchase right now.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So how exactly does Gotchies help people? Like, what does the product do that's actually giving them a benefit?
Outside of the comfort, right? Like if you say they're super comfortable, everyone can say their underwear is comfortable, right? Our underwear is super comfortable. We're past that. I mean, if this is something that you care about, which some people don't, when you wear Gotchies, that it's literally made out of the highest quality fabric that you can find in the world, and that gives a lot of people peace of mind, right? Like when they're in the sauna, when they're sweating, you don't want to be worried about whatever XYZ is seeping into your skin, seeping into your testicles, impacting fertility and whatnot. So it's really just like, do people walk around and now their testosterone levels are getting tested higher because they switched their underwear? I mean, it's probably not, but it's marginal difference. I would say it's mostly peace of mind, and it's super comfortable. But I think that we're giving them a peace of mind that's just in their non-toxic journey is one less thing that they need to stress out about.
I mean,
You
also,
s-
sorry.
Go ahead, Luke.
No, I was saying it's that quite interesting because my brain's immediately gone to saying about how, because you could do some really quite fun things there I'm jumping a bit here and we'll go right back to what we were talking about, but it's from a kind of an ad perspective and a content perspective. If you could actually show someone that, hey, this is 30 days with Gotchies and without Gotchies and actually doing a testosterone test. If you could prove, I mean, again, it won't be concrete because there'll be other variables there, but that could be really interesting. Like, because I feel like in the clothing, in the clothing space, again, it's like, we've got the best fabric, we've got the clean, like these are very like broad statements. So it's how do you make it as concrete as possible? How can you say something that no one else can say? And feel like that would be quite an interesting test.
Part of the 5 questions.
So one thing that I thought about that, but something that we can say is we have certified organic cotton by third-party standards. So people care about that. It's like in the organic cotton world, there's a lot of I think it's called greenwashing, which is pretty much you say it's organic, but it's actually not. So we kind of back that up by saying this is certified by 2 separate, very trusted international organizations that guarantee from farm to skin the cotton is safe. That's kind of different from your point because it's not like doesn't really show evidence of improving your life. It kind of helps you on the front end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that does make us pretty different. There's cotton, and then there's organic cotton, and then there's certified organic cotton. So the people in the know, like they respect that, and they view that as something that is different. Yeah.
So this may sound like quite a stupid question, but again, because every kind of D2C business is slightly different. Some are more in retail, some more are subscription heavy. How do you make money? What is the engine that you're feeding?
Everything is straight D2C through website. We make money by funneling people to our website to try to get them to purchase bundle packs, increase the average order value. And then if we don't get them to purchase, we try to capture their profile phone number and then go through the traditional marketing cycle. But everything is through online. We're not in any retail stores, not on Amazon. We're focusing on hammering down this initial process before even thinking about moving to another channel.
I like that answer. It's a good one. Master one. Vince, you don't have to get specific into what you guys are like currently doing, but where numbers wise, how many sales would you like to get to per month?
Probably like 600 a month, 15, 20 a day is kind of my next goal that I want to hit right now.
15, 20 days, 600 a month. For your customer, what is their goal? What do they care about in terms of outcomes? What is something that they, not just the benefits of the underwear, but what's something they desire from a personal perspective?
I think they like humor. They like, as you call it, advertising. It's kind of like a respect thing. It's like these guys have balls. They're saying something that's a little bit like, whoa. Some people unsubscribe, some people unfollow, but others like it. So we're building this kind of community who They like humor. They like supporting small business. If they don't, what I've found is if people don't, maybe they don't like our product that much, or maybe they get the wrong, so they don't have the great of an experience, which happens. Instead of leaving us a bad review, they'll email say, hey, I really like what you guys are doing. Here's my experience. Here's how I want you to improve. Right. So that tells me that they like what we're doing from a personal perspective, and they chose to buy because there's something in our messaging that resonates with them that's deeper than just underwear. I think it's humor. I think it's respecting small business, respecting young entrepreneurs. And I think it's also just like wanting to give people a chance who are willing to stick their neck out and say something a little bit different. Like when I say different, I mean like making a joke that's a little bit edgy about like ball sacks or something. You know what I mean?
So that stuff is great too, but like, I want you to go a little deeper here. Like, because when I think of like your customer, in my head, their goal and what they care about is not knowing that they're wearing organic underwear when they're working out. Like they're comfortable, but it feels like it's spandex almost, right? Like it feels like they're wearing compressions, and they like the fact that it doesn't, give them chafing. They like the fact that it doesn't have them sweat more. I think that's a big one. Like for me, like I sweat a ton when I wear, compressions as opposed to Gotchies when I work out. Like that's what I think their goals would be, or what they'd care about. Are there any other ones like that you think, I might be missing on that front?
The non-toxic peace of mind, I think, is a huge one.
Okay. Noted.
I know you're kind of looking for something that they can like tangibly talk about, you know what I mean? But I really think that our customer cares about, like if you drink water, like this water right here, this is from a really nice water machine, right? This has 6 filters on it. If I drink a cup of water with 3 filters on it, would I really notice the difference between 6 and 3? Like, would I feel more hydrated during the day? Maybe not, right? But I like knowing that this is like the nicest water that I can get. So that's kind of like what I think my customer also cares about. It's peace of mind, knowing over what they're consuming in their body, which your clothing is a part of that consumption, is the highest quality thing that you can get. How to translate that into like, this makes my life better outside of supreme comfort. The biggest answer is peace of mind.
Yeah. No, okay. No, it's just I think the reason why Carson was pushing at that is because, again, if you can say very concrete and like things that no one else can say, you allow yourself to really differentiate.
Yeah.
Because it's like the problem that we find a lot in the companies that we work with is I think a lot of people forget how much competition there is on Meta. I mean, it is the best advertising platform in the world for that reason, in the sense everyone's there. So it's like, can you say things that no one else can say? And I think that's what you're getting at, weren't you, Carson? Well, that's me speaking for you. Okay.
Yeah. There's something too that I want to touch on before we go to the next question, because I think this is important to talk about now. But I think you just came up with an idea without even realizing it, Vince, that you guys can find a way to fit into your advertising. You were just talking about the difference between a 3 filtered water filtration system versus a 6. And that to me can be related to your product. Like, what is the equivalent of that for your product, right? It would be the people who say they're 100% organic cotton, but really they're not. They're not that, like, you won't really notice the difference, but
they're not
peace of mind. Yeah, the peace of mind will be there, right? So I talk about this a lot. Like, the best ad ideas come from multitude of things, but one of them is things that don't make sense, right? So on paper, you think, how the fuck are you going to relate this to your brand? But I personally think you could absolutely relate this to it. Like, I think there's an idea within that of relating, like, you wouldn't know the difference between 3 filters versus 6 on your water, but the peace of mind is X, right? That's like an idea that I had. Anyway, I'll digress here, but that's something that like I want to point out to look for, is like there's little associations like that where I think you guys have a lot of potential in the market to start making and be a little bit different.
How do you guys feel about that peace of mind answer? Like, does that immediately kind of ring an alarm? Like, oh, because it's hard to, like with where there's only so many things that I can point to that make your life significant, like noticeably better. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So that's where you need to start digging in a little bit more, right? Like, will people really care about the peace of mind? I don't know. I don't have the answer. I don't think so. But how can you make them care about it, right? Like, again, going back to the water filter, I don't really like have a preference, and we'll know the difference between 3 filters versus 6, but 6 filters sounds a lot better than 3.
Right.
So like, how do you take that and apply it to the creative that you guys are using in your advertising, right? It's like, you won't notice there's a difference between our elastic waistband and our competitors, but you'll at least be able to know that you have the highest quality, right? So to me, that's more of they're seeking a desire for like highest quality and maybe like edging on the side of status.
I think status is a good one. So the thing is that everything is noticeable in underwear through the lens of comfort, right? Like if your underwear is not comfortable, but the problem is there's not a single underwear ad on the planet that's not telling you it's super comfortable. So in terms of differentiation, it's, you know what I mean? It's hard to like, it's hard to maneuver around things that aren't noticeably just comfort, if that makes any sense. Like in terms of like, I'm wearing this on my body, how does it change my life? Either it's more comfortable than the old pairs or it's not. So then it's like outside of that concept, how do you get creative? How do you get them to resonate with your message? Which I think was what you're pointing to is like status. I'm in this premium, like this, I wear organic underwear. You know what I mean? Like I'm so like mentally aware of what I'm doing that I'm not the average Joe who just goes to Target. Like I find out the best. I'm in the know of the nicest underwear, you know? The status thing, it's a peace of mind thing, it's a mindset thing. It's like, it's also like, hey, if you change your underwear, like what else are you going to change? You're observant, you know, you're thinking through things. You're not the average person. You apply scrutiny to your everyday decisions. So however you would classify that, I think is also a key aspect of what we're trying to do.
I think how I would approach, I think how I'm looking at this kind of from I think we're digressing from the questions a little bit, but I think just to add on to Carson's point, how I would approach this is kind of, you know, the whole point, I think, with the target, the audience that you're going after and the customers is that I feel like they're very into like their routines. I think Carson will tell you he's a big, you know, into his running, he's into his whatever. But I think what would be quite interesting from an agitation perspective is that, you know, you can kind of play into the fact that at the moment you're wrapping your balls for 16 hours a day in like plastic. I mean, that's
Right.
actually like a very visual metaphor. Like 16 hours of your day, let's say, unless you wear them, and let's say you wear them while sleeping. Holy shit.
Yeah.
24 hours. I mean, hopefully you're changing pants by then, but you know what I mean? Like just the fact that that to me would be a very interesting like angle to go after. Like I love using numbers and ads and like, so, you know, your balls are wrapped around plastic for 16 hours a day.
Okay. Interesting.
You
Yeah.
see what I mean? Concrete
yeah.
number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, Vince, I know you follow my content, so you probably know the 5 rules that I have by now, but like facts sell. And it's just how can you make facts interesting, right? Like I have a client that I'm working with and we're focused very heavily on the new year, new me kind of angle, right? So for me, what's one of the struggles for people come New Year's resolutions? Like a lot of them fall off in 2 weeks or by February. So it's like, okay, well, what actual percent of people fall off? Turns out, finding out through research, 88% of people fall off their New Year's resolutions in 2 weeks. That has become our headline. 88% of New Year's diets fall off in the first 2 weeks. Be part of the 20%, 22% that don't.
That's clever.
Interesting.
So like facts are your friend. Like when in doubt, give me a fact, right?
Carson, are you saying is that going to an advertorial as well? Is that going to an advertorial landing page as well, with 88% fat being the headline?
No, they're not focused on that right now, but I am interested to see how that runs.
Yeah, sorry. Once a marketer, always a marketer. The brain always goes to the lab. Anyway.
Well, something, I don't know, maybe this isn't the time to ask it, but I think it's kind of important what you say, Carson. So I've really been thinking through a lot about like, where is my customer in their journey when they're seeing me, right? Because I'm not first to market on the organic underwear game, the best performing ads that I've seen is providing them with the information that I think that they already want, right? Like I'm not telling them that, like, I'm not saying the statistics about how in my current ads, I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but I'm just telling you what's worked recently. I'm not sitting there saying scientific number or stat about why polyester is bad for your balls, because those do exist. I'm saying we have organic cotton. We have this, we have this. Like it doesn't tell you why you need organic cotton. It just tells you why you've already had it. So that tells me that my customers, like maybe some other brands have already done the digging. They've already informed them. Now they're just kind of siphoning through their different options, right? So it's like, what do you guys think of that thought process? Is that something you guys are aware of? It's like if another company or multiple other companies are already running all these different kind of ads and they're already kind of informing your customer of that information, should you skip that and go to the point? You know what I mean? This is all just kind of Vince thinking, but I would love to hear your thoughts there.
Do you want to go, Carson? Do you want me to go?
You can go.
I mean, I think the important thing is, right, and if you look at, for example, I know in the health and wellness space, podcasts are a very common kind of video format. And I think the reason why they're popular is because it's the framing that the audience has. It's they're being educated. I think there is importance in owning the education layer because, again, you want to play with the familiarity bias of people seeing your face, understanding the why, right? I feel like at the beginning of most companies, people want to buy the founder. They back the founder, right? But to really answer your question, I think I was actually having a look at the landing page you send traffic to, and I think what my suggestion would be, and maybe this is something we'll talk about later on in the episode, but it's kind of, I would probably do a bit more education on that landing page, talking about kind of about like, you know, what the different plastics are, kind of the main effects. I know you're doing a bit of that at the moment, but I would kind of go much more into it, if that makes sense.
Okay.
That'd be my view. What do you think, Carson?
Yeah, going back to like the fact stuff, I think, yes, I'm with you because most people don't really care about, what, 92% polyester does X to your balls for the most part, right? But what is this will kind of function into the next question is what is it that they're trying to avoid, right? So it's like 92% of people, spitballing a headline here is like 92% of people, are infertile or more, or 90 people are 92 men are 92% more infertile because of this. And then it's polyester underwear, right? That's made up stuff in my head, but it's really like, going into the next point is what is the pain points that your customer feels? Like emotionally, what is it that they're going through that makes it tough for them to deal with their current situation in polyester underwear, non-organic underwear?
Yeah, it's definitely the education aspect of it. It's definitely the frustration that an everyday product that they've considered to be something that wasn't worth thinking about, or it's just underwear is not on most people's radars when they're going throughout their day. It's just put something on, boom. And then you come across a piece of information, you're like, whoa, this study just informed me that people who are wearing 100% polyester sling just became infertile, right? And compared to the other cotton control groups who weren't. It's like, wow, I've been trusting these companies my whole life. I've been rebuying X company for the last 20 years of my underwear. And I thought that they were buttery soft, 4-way stretch. I thought that they were supporting my workouts. And it turns out that the materials they're making it out of is not good for me. I'm frustrated. And I feel like this is just another thing in my life that I'm now like, I have to rethink into, relook about. Like, I can't even trust a company that I have been supporting for 20 years with my money. They told me they were selling me the highest quality stuff. I read the product description, 92% polyester, 8% spandex, whatever. I think it's frustration. I think it's kind of like a new frontier, and it's a little bit of anger. And then now you want to go out there and find someone that now you're kind of like, I don't trust anyone. I need to find a company where I can regain my trust.
But what are like these specific pain points, right? So like infertility for me would be one.
Infertility, lower testosterone, skin issues,
Chemical anxiety, maybe like like the chemicals in the plastics.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Like those are the type of things that I would nail down and have like a document of, is like, what are the specific things that people are frustrated about? Not just the company stuff or whatever external factors. It's like personally, they're struggling with the fact that they have lower testosterone, or that their skin's breaking out, or that they're getting ingrown hairs, like stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
like those are all super particular things that people might struggle with from a very like pinpointed pain point.
Yeah.
And I think actually that is kind of, I mean, me and Carson talk about it a lot on the episode, on a lot of our episodes about with Meta now. And I think you've got to be, it sounds pretty counterproductive, but you've actually got to be more than ever pinpoint in the messaging you do on your ads, because Meta, the creative is the targeting now.
Yeah.
And it's
vagueness kills more ads than specificity ever will.
Precisely. Like, and that's the thing when it's like, and when you say like, we've got the world's best fabric, and it's interesting that those types of statements, because people will just ignore them. Because it's like, okay, cool. Well, there's like the things you're saying. I mean, the amount of ideas you're coming up with just speaking to us. Like for example, you were talking about when you went to Target, and if you look at the back of the, like, not ingredients, but the back of like the material, like that is such an easy ad, before and after, like a picture of all the different like materials in one pair of pants versus yours, which would literally just be one.
Right.
Well, and it also can just be
so visual.
You put 2 labels up of you do the materials on the left, and you do the consequences on the right.
Yeah.
Right? It's like 90% polyester, you're going to be infertile, your skin's going to break out, you're going to have X, Y, and Z. And then switch to 100% organic, and then there's all your benefits, right? There's the desires, the goals. Like that's stuff that I would also think about, because I think it lays out the emotional side for people, which is what they care about. And I've said this quite a bit on the podcast, but like people will reason and logic themselves into anything. It's just a matter of if you can make them feel something so that they care enough to do it.
100%. I mean, it's, and I think to add on to that as well, it's especially with underwear, the game. I mean, it's pants in the UK, so I'll say underwear though for this context. Underwear. I think what you can play into more than most brands, because it's underwear, is you can really go into like sensory discomfort. The scratchiness, the itchiness, the waistband actually digging in, right? There's so many, like you could do some really interesting before and after photos of people's waistlines wearing generic Target pants or underwear, sorry, versus yours. I think for me personally, and how I'd approach looking at kind of the future of your creatives, I would just say how visual can we make these metaphors of what we're doing? Because I think visual sell, in my opinion. The visual, like people want to see concrete images in their mind, and I think you can really play into that discomfort.
That's why this conversation is very helpful for me, because like I don't think we do a good job at all of pinpointing a specific problem that someone's having, right? Like the guy who has low testosterone, he's doing everything that he can to get higher. We don't have an avatar like that. Like they exist, but we're not advertising to them, I would say.
But this is
Yeah.
kind of cool. If you look at kind of the Groons team and how they approach it, their whole thing is like you use statics. I mean, this is why me and Carson love statics so much, because statics are the quickest way to find the persona as fast as possible, because you can prototype with the statics then, so you can kind of go, right, and this is really important. In the old game of meta, you could get away with running the same ad but just changing the headline variation. You just cannot do that anymore. It does not like familiarity anymore. It wants creative diversity. But you could run one persona, let's say low testosterone. You could try a founder video, a static. You could try a static, like a before and after. You could do a testimonial static. You could do what other statics are there, Carson, that come to mind?
Headline plus benefits, my go-to.
Yeah, they're precisely those ones. And then from there, you can then run that and test and see what happens. Because if low testosterone is a persona, then that would be my assumption before I even came on the call, was men, especially around the world, especially in Western cultures, are really needing, like low testosterone is a huge problem. And I feel like if you can play into that being the edge, because it's on people's mind, right? It really is on people's minds. And I feel like that could be quite a fun angle, because no one thinks about underwear could be
a very big topic of conversation in the last couple of years.
Right.
Like everywhere on social, can't really escape it. All of these guys like Huberman talk about it. And honestly, I think just societally, there's a massive issue with it. I mean, you see it every day from all these other people out there, these guys that just, you can tell they have low testosterone, right? Like they stand out like a sore thumb. But I assume less of those people that, more so stick out will be your audience, and more so like the health conscious guys who are, they're doing marathons, they're doing high rocks, they're doing all this other stuff. And they might want to be a little bit more comfortable in that sense, and have the peace of mind that they're wearing underwear that's, still feels the same as if they were wearing compressions, but it's not going to hurt their testosterone.
Right.
It's like that's what my assumption would be. But we also now want to take the time to let you ask us questions, like about anything you want on meta, whatever we can help answer and really like get granular with to help you out. I think this is what we've kind of been waiting for the whole time to let happen, is really just dive deep into what you're struggling with and what we can provide value wise to help you.
Okay. I appreciate it. I'm going to start with some specific, like our specific situation, and ask you guys, like, just give some background. So, for some background, as I said, we've been on this journey of figuring out meta ads. I would say we kind of have transferred from complete buffoons running to the Instagram account, running videos that have no hook, to only static ads right now for the most part that actually have strategy, thought about like budgeting and target. There's a plan in place and it's starting to work a little bit, right? That's where we're at right now. So for the first time ever, we have found 3 winning ads, right, that are profitable. We like the numbers, purchase rates going up, AOVs going up. There's hope, right? For the first time all year, there's hope. Now I want to know, so I have 3 winning ads, right? I want to know, what's your guys' like strategical balance on iterating on winning creatives versus testing new angles? So it's like, I have these 3 winning ads. Should I make more that are, I know they shouldn't look the same, right? I know that, but like, Should they tell the same message? What's the balance between thinking through iterating on winning creatives versus let's go test new angles?
Carson, do you want to? I know Carson's a bit.
Kick us off here. Kick us off with this one.
Am I kicking this off?
Yeah, go for it.
I would say, in my approach, I love the 70-20-10 like framework. So it's like you do 70% of what you make are winners, so the ones that you're doing. So 70% of what you do should be focusing on those, so making more of that. 20% should be stuff that are, that you're kind of like a slightly adjacent to that theme, but slightly different. And then 10% should just be completely different angle testing. That's how I do it. I think me and Carson, we probably differ here in views. But I think, to be honest with you, and if you've got if you've got a persona that's working, right, you can tell that story in so many ways. I think I think you'll know when when you've squeezed too much of the lemon, when you'll start seeing kind of CPAs kind of rising, and you start to see the back end isn't doing as well as you're expecting. So I think if it's winning ads, I would just do a bit more iteration on those ads, and then when you see the metrics on kind of come through and you're like, this is kind of limiting, then I would move on. But I think what's important as well is just to build that framework out as a team and say, look, hey, whatever creatives we do, this is the framework we must follow. Mine's 70-20-10. I know Carson's a bit different.
Yeah, like for me, I mean, you guys are in a great spot because you're still a very small brand. So I wouldn't be worried about exhausting your angle or your audience at all, right? Like keep doubling down on what's working. But for me, it's like, okay, one, start with just changing the format. Like, all right, you have a headline plus benefits. How can we turn this into us versus them? Maybe people who need a little bit more education. It's like, what's the difference between you versus Nads or you versus normal underwear, right? Like name brand. What's the difference there? So take the headline for the persona that's working, but say it differently so that it's going to be the same underlying angle for people who might need a little bit more education in the point of the funnel that they're at, right? So that's number one, is like change formats, keep like the same headline plus benefits, but do like an Apple Notes version, right? That's completely different creative format, the diversity. That's a good one. I would also say like you guys as founders could maybe take it into a video form. That's one thing. But if we're talking about just statics, it's like, okay, go from the same using the same format and then completely tweaking the headline for a new angle or audience, right? So it's like, okay, people care about the chemicals. Well, audience would care about comfort. Like, how can you make that interesting to say? I'm pretty aligned with Luke on this one. For your guys' stage, go for the 70% that's working, 20% that's adjacent, and 10% that's just massive swings, right? Like something that's more up my alley would be on the 10% side is like, go for something completely different here, right? Like test something completely new, have one ad a week that you guys might test that's just like a fucking home run swing. Like you're just putting everything behind that, right? And then the rest of them, I'd say go for like formatting change with what's working and then do headline tweaks of the same angle with a different format.
Awesome. That kind of leads into my next question, which is like testing customer segmentation, like who is our customer? We're kind of in a situation where, as I said, there's a clear age demographic of who our customer is. 45, 65, higher income, cares about health and wellness, right? 18 to 24-year-old and the 24 to 35-year-old, like pretty much everyone 18 to 35, 35 to 45 is kind of in the middle, but like 45, 65 is our clear winning customer. Should we even be running ads to 18 to 35? Like, you know what I'm saying? They're a rare buy. They don't spend as much money. Is it worth it to keep them in the loop? Is it worth it to niche down our audience a little bit? Like, I'm just kind of curious on like, what's the general advice there?
My view is, I genuinely think, to be brutally honest, I've had a mate of mine who was not in a very different niche, and he had a similar thing where he was trying to target 18 to 24-year-olds, and his products went towards more 45 to kind of 60-year-olds. He always found that quite annoying, but I always said, look, they're a very good economic buyer. They have money. They're going to spend more money, than that would be the audience I'd go after. You can always make skews and kind of go after the younger demographic, but there's more kind of like, ammunition in the bank account. But if you've got economic buyers that are spending money, then I would just double down on that demographic.
And you think to cut the other guys out, literally say like, we don't want you to show them, Yeah,
I mean, I would, because I think, to be honest with you, you've got engagement, you've got intent, right? If you've got an audience that are high intent and are spending, right, and are giving you the most of money out of your buck, then I think that's where you double down. because, and I think there'll be
It's just where's the money?
where's the money?
That's what it is. It's where's the money? And I think for you guys, you can
Where's
extend
the
that.
money? Show me the money.
Like
Yeah.
where's the money, one, but I think you might be able to extend that demographic another 10 years forward and go 35 to 65. Because I still think age-wise for like the athletic type,
Yeah.
you can capture more in that 35-year-old audience.
Right.
And then as you go up, it'll change a little bit in terms of angles and who you're trying to reach and which direction you go. But athletically, you're going to probably reach more men in their prime who care about this stuff at the 35-year-old age. So I'd say skew it down to maybe like have two core audiences and one of them be like maybe 28 to 40 and then 45 to 65 as a general way to go. Because then you can segment by angle and it's like, okay, these people are the ones that are more athletic type. They're still active. They care about this stuff. These are the people that might not be as active, but they care about the comfort and they care about the, non-toxic side as well.
Carson, we texted about this briefly. So would you guys say you're in the camp of, as you kind of know who your customer is, you should limit your audience? Because this to me is you're limiting your audience size, right? Like, is it good to limit your audience size in Meta? What concerns come along with that? Just like talking me through about audience size and what's a concerning level? Like, is there a certain amount of million people that you don't want to go below or above? Just any information you give me about audience size.
I mean, I generally believe that you've got, because again, right, every person in the universe, well, apart from maybe some hippies in the Midwest, wear underwear, right? Fundamentally, right? So
Right.
I don't think it's I don't know. I'm probably skewing more towards the fact that I don't know. I'm one of these people where I think we're very, as human beings, I think we try and go to the new exciting new audience segment to go after. But I really want to double down. Like, if there's an audience that's paying you money, the AOVs are fantastic, and they're rebuying, if there's good retention as well, there's reorder rate, then I would only focus on that demographic, and I wouldn't worry about, do I need to increase the TAM or reduce the TAM? Like, just, I don't know, because Meta is like, I don't know. I mean, Carson and I talk about this all the time, but Meta are actively trying to get rid of media buying. They don't want it. They just want to say, look, here are 20 creatives, and they'll go find you the audience. That's kind of what I think the future is. That's why it's going anyway. What do you think, Carson?
Yeah, I hope they're getting rid of media buying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Luke here. I think like don't worry so much about the audience size. Just worry about who your customer is and how you can reach them. That's the most important part because Meta will go find the right people. They know more about one person than I could ever know about myself.
So how does frequency come into play? Is there a frequency that you should target? What's a good frequency?
Depends on the stage of the funnel and the ad. Like if you have a top of funnel ad, it'll stay at like a 1 to 1.15, 1.2 max. Middle, it'll go probably to a 1.4 or 5 range. And then if you have a bottom of funnel, it'll be more up into the 1.8. Like I say, I think like for a general rule of thumb, you don't really want to go above, it's hard to say depending on the business and the order size, but like I'd say for most people, 2.2 is what you want to be at a max for just general rule of thumb on the whole account. But individual ads, if you're going above a 1.8, that's to me where I start to worry. But again, it all depends on the business. Like I think that's a general rule of thumb here.
So if you have a good ad that's performing well, but the frequency is a little bit high, I guess the assumption is that like, yes, it's performing well, but Meta doesn't believe that there's that many people who are going to resonate with this.
No. So for the most part, it's just how often is somebody seeing the ad. So if they're seeing it more often, they're bottom of funnel, they're trying to convert them.
But doesn't that mean that Meta values like showing it to the same person multiple times than it does trying to show it to new people? Meaning that it doesn't think that it's that.
For that ad, correct. So scalability wise, in terms of new people, it won't bring in new people, but it will likely convert people who are more of the top of funnel. Like if you have an ad that's getting a ton of spend and it's still profitable, it's doing well, but it doesn't have as high of conversion rate as your other two, then it depends on what's point of the funnel that they're at.
Awesome. So another thing I wanted to ask about that I've never heard you talk about, Carson, is email marketing. So I know you're obviously got the whole advertising thing, which is like, you got to be unique, got to be creative, got to be emotionally appealing, got to tell a story to kind of capture their attention. Once they're in your funnel, do you take the same approach? Because I've gotten like I don't know if you read my emails, but I'd say they're pretty out there, which I love. I have a lot of fun doing it. as marketers, do you agree with that approach? Like once you capture someone, do you treat them differently than maybe when you're trying to capture them the first time? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, because to me, email is more of a serving function of one, retention, clearly, but two, think where a lot of people miss out on, especially smaller businesses miss out on email, is the educatement and entertainment side. Like just send emails that people might enjoy reading.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't even have to have a CTA.
Right.
I mean, there's there's lots of great resources now with there's some great email marketers out there that give tons of value, and they often say just do like a founder email, do an us versus them, a customer testimony, like a customer story, right? They're fantastic emails to do, right? Someone's story of using your product, maybe they're training for a marathon and they started using your underwear, they started using Gotchies and they found, they'll probably be like, I stopped sweating as much. It meant I didn't have chafing the next day, right? I think I always say to people when you're in email and also in ads as well, your product fundamentally, in a really brutal way, people don't care about your product. They care about how it fits into their story, right? It's like the hero's journey, right? And if you look at, I don't know if you're a Star
Right.
Wars fan, it's like, the classic hero journey, right? And I feel like it's really important when you're doing emails and ads as well. But if we're focusing on email, because that's the question, it's how can I tell a story that they want to be a part of, right?
Yeah, email's a great way to tell stories. I mean, you get people whose attention is going to be a little bit longer because they know it's an email, but you also have more text to work with, more space to work with, and you can really tell a story. Like I think storytelling's a great way to do it. I think entertainment's a great way to do it. I think even providing just education and providing resources, right? That's a great way to do it too. But mix it up, test it out, see what works. Try visual heavy, try just straight up text only emails. I've seen those and know a client of mine who their email agency is, and they do really well with text only emails.
Nice.
And also as well, just to add on to that as well, I was just going through a funnel before kind of the just kind of get a brief understanding of what you're up to. And just saying, when you're sending paid traffic to your landing page at the moment, I saw that you've got like a get 15% off, right? I would focus on more so you can start to like even better segment of why your audience is clicking. I'd actually have like the reasons, I don't have the words, but like outcome based. So for example, it's, are you here because of comfort, durability, health, or price? Right?
So we have our question right now. We did have, what do you care about most, which was comfort, health, or it was, what do you care about most in terms of health? I think it was, what do you care about most? It was fertility, testosterone, health, or durability.
Oh, nice.
I actually changed the question to, why are you here? And it's replacing organic, which means they already have organic underwear and they want to try new ones.
Okay.
Replacing synthetic, or gift giving. So
what's been the early results of that? I mean, now I'm really intrigued. What have you found out from that?
either it's like 50-50. It's like 45-45, replacing synthetic, trying organic, pretty much split. And then the smaller bucket is gift giving, which is higher this time of year. I'm expecting that to go down, which has been a really helpful question for me because that's what I was saying. I'm really trying to the reason I'm asking about email and all this because I'm really trying to understand the whole flow of where the customer is, right? Like once they get to me, what more information do they want to know and why are they here in the first place? Like why are they here? What can get them over the top? And to me, as I was saying, I kind of get the hunch that my customers up to this point already know that they don't want to wear synthetic clothing, right? They're already aware and they now want to find their favorite organic option.
So they're very not product aware. They're very problem solution aware.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're in more of the middle stage of the funnel. They're not completely unaware.
Right. That's my gut. That's what my small amount of evidence, my gut instinct tells us. That's why I'm trying to work through, but I could be missing a whole market because I don't know. So that's why that question's there is I'm trying to work through that. So did you not see that question when it popped up? You just went straight.
I did. So it was interesting when I went for the paid. So just going on to Facebook ad library and clicking through, I didn't get a pop up. I didn't get one.
Okay. Interesting.
It's interesting. Maybe I don't know. Maybe because it's coming from a UK traffic source. I don't know. Maybe it's different.
So going into that whole system, I'm only running static ads right now. How do static ads and video ads work together through the funnel? As I venture out into creating some video ads, do they work together? Are they isolated? Like, how should I pair the two?
Honestly, it's a multitude of different things. Like one, Meta knows some people just convert better from video as opposed to statics, and they will serve them more statics than video. That is my feed. I don't think I've ever bought from a video ad, and Meta serves me primarily statics.
Okay.
Funny enough, and this was even before I got into advertising. Additionally, video is great top of funnel for getting people for education. It's very good at taking unaware audiences and just turning them into more of a problem aware audience. They understand what's going on. Like for you guys, I assume that's probably what it'll be more of. It'll be, hey, we need to educate people. Video is the best way for us to do that and reach new customers. This is why your organic underwear or your underwear is, why you have EDs because your underwear, whatever, right? Like that's the type of stuff that I think, and going into the why, right? Like I think that's kind of where video would fit in for you guys, is more education.
Okay. And so let's say we start running. Sorry, look, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
Let's say we start running video ads and they're not like. Is there an environment where you run video ads and you don't expect them to have good ROAS like on their own, but they're an important piece of the component that you don't want to take away? Like, is that how you'd evaluate them under that aspect?
If you have a video ad that starts taking up spend in the account and then it converts, but it's more, it's very low frequency. It doesn't do a ton of sales, but it seems to be bringing in a lot of new customers. And the rest of your ads, if there's an incremental lift there, that it's doing its job. If it comes in, it doesn't spend, it's doing nothing, Meta thinks it sucks.
Okay.
That's pretty much the rule of thumb. If it gets spend, if it's break even or profitable, and you see the other ads start to lift up more, then that's where it fits in the funnel.
Yeah. But also as well, you can look, sometimes what we'll do the clients we work with, we kind of get quite adventurous in the sense of, okay, if we're running, let's say, right, I'm very bullish on podcast clips because I feel like you can, all you need to do is rent a podcast studio for an hour and then go through your biggest objections and skepticisms of people that have bought your product or bought competitors' products and just answer them in like a podcasty format, right? You don't have to sit down actually like a proper podcast. You can just like make big, do answer, yeah. And I feel like what you can do is you can do really clever, like little sales, because sometimes when people are learning, they may not want to buy straight away. So you could say, oh, hey, we built like, I love a lead magnet. I think lead magnets are just the best. You could be like, hey, we built a free quiz to help you understand if maybe, underwear is the problem for your low testosterone levels. Of course, the quiz funnel will let them know that underwear is the problem. You make that very clear. But you see what I mean, right? Because maybe they're not ready to buy then, but you can get their email, get them into I feel like the game is emails, just getting as many emails as possible, and then just nurturing those customers to buy. I feel like the worst thing is for small brands when they're starting is they spend all this money on ads and then they have nothing to show for it.
Right. Yeah.
That's the painful thing. That's my view.
And so over Black Friday, we changed the pop-up because we were all offer based, right? So like 20, you want 25% off? We took away that first question. We were getting like 0 emails. As soon as we added the question back, the emails started coming in significantly heavier. So I don't know if this is an advertiser thing. Our thought process was when you ask them that question, they instinctively just want to answer it. Like, why are you here today? Or like, what brings you here? Oh, I'm replacing synthetic.
With intent, if they're there with intent, yes, they will absolutely want to answer it because that they will want to feel either way like they're understood.
So
100%.
Is there any other nicks and tricks you can use to more likely capture? I know there's like the mystery wheel and there's different like pop-up strategies, but it's like in terms of capturing information, is there anything that I'm not doing? I just have I think a pretty good question. Give me your email, give me your phone number. Here's a discount. Is that kind of?
I think it's just,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's just what's important to you guys. Like if that question is what you want to know at the moment, and that's doing the job into understanding the customer more, leave it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Okay.
If it gives you what you needed and it's not broken, leave it be, let it run, keep it up, and then use it to your advantage the more data you get.
Okay.
But also as well, I love Carson will probably tell you this off camera. I don't really talk about how much I love them, but I love sending paid traffic to quizzes. I'm a big fan of them because not only do you get to learn information about your audience if they go through it, and again, you've got to make the questions all about them. What are your goals? What are your motivations? All these things. And then at the end, there's also a possibility that they may purchase. But if they don't, at least have all this information that you can then take out and then approach with your next set of ads you make, right?
Yeah.
But also as well, like, what's your organic like? How's that going?
Our content, I think it's like pretty solid. Like we haven't popped off or gone viral. I think we have like 730 followers. I think we're building a good community. Like the people like the content.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I would say that it's pretty good. Like, it's not great. It's not amazing. The volume isn't as high as I would want it to be because I'm kind of like the sole content source, and that's one of a million different things I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to put out good stuff. You know what I mean? So I would say I'm pretty happy with organic, but it needs to be a lot better and at a lot higher volume.
Yeah. I mean, I follow their organic. Like, they do a good job. I think the only thing that they're missing is like doing something as a crazy hook.
Yeah.
And I thought of this at the beginning of the episode, and I'll send you some stuff for an idea that I think you guys could play off of. But yeah, they're doing a pretty good job there.
So Luke, I wanted to ask you about that. So I've really thought about renting out a podcast studio or like doing a setup and making like 50 different clips. But with Meta's update this year, if every clip looks the same but they have different content, will you be able to test those videos against each other?
So this is where you can get a bit creative here. So you can do what I would be doing in that scenario. You could, again, this may sound really stupid, like bring different sets of clothes, wear different clothes, change the fit, like change where you're sitting, change the pose, try, like you can get, like, again, that's how I would approach it. But also as well, to answer that question in a better way, probably would be if you think about it, yes, Facebook are penalizing for similarity, but I think if you can try and, because again, every ad that you run to Meta, they read the transcript and whatever. That is really important. So just make it very clear that when you are doing different like clips, it's a very different hook like very different hooks, right? Don't do like, for example, you may do like a big statement and then you say something. Just try different things. I don't know if I've answered that. What about you, Carson? How would you join into that?
No, I agree. I think it's just like change the setting as much as you can, change what you're wearing, add sunglasses, add hats, do something a little bit crazy. I mean, I'm a big fan of that. Like, do something just a little bit more out there and then do some that are pretty standard.
Okay.
Also, it will be a great hook to do, talking about a crazy organic hook that I would love to run. It would be, you just get
What do your balls smell like?
Yeah, literally, that would be fantastic. That's why you're not getting laid, is because that would work so well. It's like, how, dupe.com, do you know them? The where you take a photo of furniture and it will say how to get it cheaper. Have you heard of that company? You two? No.
No.
On their biggest hook, their best hook was, the reason why you're not getting laid is your furniture.
Love it.
So you can see what you could do for underwear. The reason why you're not getting laid is because your underwear smells like. That's an agitation. That's an agitation.
There you go.
I've gone.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate it. The good news about underwear, and especially being a young guy, there's infinite ways to be creative and kind of wrap it up a little.
Yeah, the world is your oyster in that regard.
I would just go nuts on visual hooks. Like, you could have one where you have your
no pun intended.
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah, go nuts on visual hooks.
Go nuts. Like, I would do like, one where you're actually setting alight your competitor, saying, look how easy it can set alight because it's actually oil and plasticky, and then you try and set yours alight, and then I don't know. Like, you can just just try different things.
Yeah. So where do you guys get your information from in the infinite pool of resources? Is everything from hands-on client experience? Do you have a go-to guy? Do you have a newsletter? Like, where's this knowledge coming from?
That's a great question. That's a really good question. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go for it.
So I learned kind of two ways. I read a lot of the problem is, right, I always say to people, technology will change really quickly, but human psychology fundamentally will never change. So when I started advertising, it was like a year ago before I actually became a business, I read a lot of books on psychology. So a lot of my learnings came from reading the classic books, like, the Carnegie books, the kind of how to win an influence threat, like those types of books. It really taught me the fundamentals of what make people buy, right? And if you learn that, then it kind of allows you to really understand how to approach selling. Because fundamentally, people buy for three reasons, in my opinion. It's more status, save money, or make more money, right? They're my three fundamentals of why people buy stuff, right? And status works in kind of like sexual desire, convenience. That falls into that kind of bucket. And then YouTube-wise, big fan of, look, Owen Meets the World's a classic. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
He's great. I back him all the way. They've got a really good podcast there. Is it the Brandfathers, isn't it? Yeah,
Brandfathers, yeah.
Yeah. The Brandfathers.
Oren John.
The Brandfathers?
Yeah. They're very good. They're when we started out, we were like, if we can get anywhere near their quality, we'll be very happy with ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for me, like, when it comes down to the psychology side, it was a lot of books, like Luke said, a lot of like reports and just research. I also like learned it a little bit in school, so that helped. And then in terms of like advertising and creative, I think for me, like, I'm a kinesthetic learner. I learn by doing things. So like a lot of my experiences were from actually doing work, but YouTube is undefeated. YouTube's undefeated. There's this guy too called Carson Hoffman. His content's great.
Mate, honestly, I hear great things.
Yeah.
He always wears a hat in every video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, for the most part, it's I would say YouTube is honestly like the best place to go.
But also as well, I mean, I always think from a learning perspective as well, is the answers of life and the answers of how to actually execute in a business way is, you know, look, I'm very anti looking at competitors all the time for kind of inspiration. I'd be looking at how do, I don't know, how do software companies approach funnels and how could you take the learnings from that to what you're building in underwear? Like, what are their funnel structures? And I think that's like, you
Yeah.
see what I mean? Like, for example,
I have the competitor disease. I'm too wrapped up in competitors.
yeah,
I'm saying if I'm very, so do you, in the advertising world, it sounds like you're kind of against it because maybe you think it hurts your creativity or
Yeah,
your
both of us are kind of against it, especially like like competitor wise. For the most part, I don't like maybe I'll once in a while look at them like to see what they're doing, but I'd say for the most part, for me, most of my ideas come from completely different places.
completely.
Like I think ideas come from emotions that people experience. I think they come from actual experiences, moments, and situations. They come from outcomes and they come from things that don't make sense. Like those are my core general four is like the real and the real world. So maybe a fifth, but all of those kind of funnel into the real world. Like Luke and I had a podcast about this, just about like how do you find a big idea, where we go into more of this stuff. And I'm centering a lot of my newsletter and now work around like helping people come up with these things, because I really enjoy the topic, but I think you never find out how people got the idea. You only find out about what the finished product was. Right. And it's like, how can I help people get from from B to I? Like, what's the meat? Like, how do you actually think up an idea? And you look at those four things as a general rule of thumb. But like, look at other industries, not just clothing. Look at like supplements. Look at, not hate to say it, but another one to look at is just like out of home stuff. Like that's a great place to look, because a lot of it's just headlines, but you never know what's going to spark an idea and what kind of like, I think for when it comes to visual metaphors and visual hooks for statics, out of home is the best place you can go.
And again, just to add on to what Carson's saying as well, I think there's kind of I could go into more detail, but kind of my kind of like 3-step kind of framework here and looking at how do you get better inspiration. I think it all starts from like, you've got to define the core theme, right? So for example, when let's say we look at kind of the running niche, right? You'll see a lot of them will say like peak performance, right? And I think for me, if I was doing like an athletic brand and I was in charge, I would say, okay, we're not going to use peak performance. That's used all the time. Let's kind of go for a more unique feeling. So, right, can we talk about kind of the rhythm and the flow state that a long distance runner would go on, right? And then when you've got those themes, so what, that rhythm and the flow state that they would go on, how can we then, and then we'd also again, so that's step one, just get a core theme. So let's say we went for like the rhythm and the flow state of a long distance run, right? Let's say that was the core theme. I would then say, whatever you do not look at competitors. Because when you look at competitors, it will just like, you'll get too similar and you'll always be number two. So in step two, like, do not look at do not look at your own category. Go look somewhere completely different. And then kind of in step three, how I've always said, is like, you explore the unrelated world. So for example, in my mind, if you think about rhythm and kind of that feeling of flow, I would kind of maybe like, like the deep sea, how like the jellyfish and stuff and that glow.
Yeah.
That's where my brain would go. Or like looking at like 1980s, like analog music, right? You know how they show there's like geometric patterns and the sound waves, right? And it's like from there, you can look about how they've looked at it and then you can create something cool. That's kind of how I approach it. So for example, if I was doing an athletic brand, I may do a campaign called Find Your Frequency. And actually, maybe instead of using mountain peaks, you would look at kind of shooting runners in the dusk or at night on simple or maybe like empty roads. So it's all about the movement they're going on. That's how I
So
would.
do you guys feel like the jellyfish just reminded me of like Carson? I always see the ads that you post on LinkedIn that are like connecting. Like I remember you did the monkey with the drums and it was like the beat or what did the
oh yeah, the Bose ad that I found. Yeah.
So I like those ads a lot. From your guys' experience, do those actually perform well on Meta? You know what I'm saying? Like
No, those ones generally no, but if you added stuff to it, I mean, shit, I'm not even going to say no, because I've had ads that are headline only that crush.
So
All depends on like stage of the funnel.
Like those ones, because to me, it's kind of like it makes the customer think, right, for a second, which is good because they want to think and they're intrigued, but you're kind of risking that they don't get the message maybe you want them to get. It's on a direct benefit. I'm just curious. And I think there's value in that for sure. And I like them, but like, does that work from like a profitability perspective?
From my view, the brutal thing is, right, you've got to think, okay, when my consumer is on Meta, right, the first question I have is, what is native content to them? That's why ugly ads do really well. It's why headlines.
What's behavior?
Precisely, like the amount of like some of the ads I've ran and I've looked at and gone, I actually feel ashamed. Like this is the most. I mean, I was showing Carson something. It was like, Luke, these are horrendous, and they're our best ads in the set because they're so native to Meta. You know, you see like the email ones, like the native email, the notes apps. I mean, one of my favorite things I upload. I was literally showing that today, wasn't I, Carson? The what I posted today. It was a one of like a checkout overlay, and it was an iMessage saying the dad going, "Why the fuck are you? Like, what do you mean buying the dip? You know, you see that?"
Oh, that was hilarious. One thing too that I just thought of as well, a format is like, and Luke, maybe we should test this for our own accounts. But what if, you know how, Vince, you'll know this. You know how Barstool does like their rankings every week
Yeah.
of like football or whatever. I wonder what you could do to like frame that as an ad.
Like the NFC playoff picture too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that, or like, you know, there's one with the NFL every week where it's like just happy to be 500, just happy that, or Tyler Shuck may be him, you know, coming as a Saints fan, that's what I remember. But that's like the stuff I would look at too. And it's also, it's just for the images where things are a little bit crazier and people do have to stop and understand, like the ones I've posted, those generally are more like out of home assets or, you know, stuff that's not going to convert, but you don't know until you test. Like one of those could just be a great bottom of funnel.
Right.
It's always the surprises.
I'm a big fan of testing everything.
Okay.
You just don't know.
Yeah, that brings me to a question I really want to know is, as a young business owner who's trying to play catch up in a lot of ways, I'm just trying to figure out what meta ads are doing or is going on, right? My competitors have been doing this for 20 years or whatever, like they know. So I'm trying to play catch up. How can I think forward about the future of Meta, say the next 3 to 5 years? Like, where's it going in terms of maybe the way Meta is managing things, how customers are thinking through things? Like, what's your prediction? Because things are going to change rapidly. Where's it going? How can I get ahead of it instead of trying to follow along?
You will beat 90% of your competitors if you nail organic, which is very difficult for me to say as a paid advertiser.
You nail organic.
Because they don't know how to do it. If you can win organic, and I'll tell you, I won't tell you on the podcast, I'll tell you off stream how I approach it. But you know, I literally did a video 9 days ago. It's now on this account that I started a month ago. Is on 140,000 views off just like posting 30 times. Right? It's like there are so many like little hacks that people don't know about, and these like big players have no idea how to approach it. Because what they'll do is they'll go, "Oh, let's go hire a big macro influencer that's got 1 million followers and pay 25, 40K, and they'll lose all their money because the game is on the influencers." Right?
And would you say winning organic is making really good content that your current followers want to see, or is everything about trying to go viral? Because to me, those are two different things.
So it's again engagement and intent, right? Because again, you can make really engaging content and have zero intent. I'm a big believer there's no harm in having more people at the top that you can work down eventually. I think in the beginning for a small company, it's all about getting your name out there. That's my view.
Okay.
You know, like, yeah, that's my view.
For me, I think organic serves two functions. One is to bring in new people, and two is to nurture people. I don't see organic as a way to convert people, but that's just because that's not their intent when they're just seeing your stuff. They don't want to be sold to for the most part when they see your stuff as a brand. They just want to feel something from your brand, whether it's humor, whether it's something cool, images, whatever. You follow different people for different reasons. And it's just like, okay, why would people follow us? What do we want to give them in terms of value, in terms of what they want to feel? And that's really like the biggest thing for organic is just you want to evoke a more emotion from people to where they're delighted to see your stuff for X reason.
So Carson, from your perspective, since you've kind of been in my my company's ecosystem for some time, I know you're subscribed, you follow the Instagram, whatever, you follow me. Your point of view, where do you think we stand? Like, do you think we do that right now? Even though it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just looking for your feedback as someone who's like,
I think you guys
that good. I'm just curious is what you honestly think.
I honestly think there's so much potential for you guys to just do so much humor for organic. I think that's like the best place to figure things out is like, just go with the humor side. Let people be delighted to come and see your stuff and be like, oh, this is Gotchies. I know it's going to be funny, or I'm expecting humor, right? Like give them an expectation of you're going to get a laugh out of us, right?
Yeah, I would.
People love humor.
I would and again, this classic right now, ratings and breakdowns, skit-based content, looking at that, like that's what I'd be doing. I'd be looking at, also a lot of enemy marketing. So because again, no one knows what Gotchies is, but they do know what big oil is.
Right.
You can talk about that as a very big, that would be a great hook. Like, this is what big oil knows that you don't know about. I'm intrigued.
One thing I would do is pour some sort of synthetic liquid on yourself.
That's what I just thought. I literally just thought about going to the gas station, like pouring the nozzle on something.
Yeah, like do something that's just. I genuinely, you guys have such an opportunity with the brand itself and the product of just going for the biggest swings on organic to make it funny and to get attention. Like go do stuff that's just batshit crazy. Go pour, silly string liquid on yourself. Go light underwear on fire, you guys versus the other guys. Go, do stuff like that where it's going to really be out there and make people laugh and also make them go, what did I just watch?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the thing is, and that would be where the alpha is. I think if you can nail organic, again, the great thing about it, when you get a video that goes well organically, you put paid behind it, it'll do even better because it's already improved.
So where's the future of paid only going? Like, are you guys bullish on static in 5 years? Is AI a concern? Is the consumer market, the economic environment a concern in terms of like, is another platform going to come in and take Meta's share? Like, what are you guys thinking from a solely paid perspective?
I think it's the companies that will win with the ones that can do creative testing quicker and are not bottlenecked by their processes. That's my answer.
So quicker creatives, better. So who can get the most content out there fastest in a structured way?
Precisely. Like it could, I mean, I've got 2 minutes. I've got to hop off, but so I'm quite conscious of that. But sorry. So to answer that question, I would say the companies that have the quickest creative testing don't get bottlenecked by the process. And also, I would say as well, you basically want to see a video going viral in another niche and be able to make ads based on that video that target your audience within the same day. That would be like dream scenario.
My quick answer is literally just, it's psychology, understanding your customer, know what they want, and just speak to that. Everything else is out of your control. Just do what you can to understand them and give them something they want. That's it.
But look,
awesome.
Hopefully this has been useful. And I just want to thank you so much for being on the show. You're our first ever hotline.
First ever guest.
First guest, yeah. I know. Let's talk about that first, actually. Yeah, first ever guest. We will definitely have you back on because I'm very excited to hear where you guys take it to Q1, the jam.
This is, dude, I appreciate it. This is super helpful for me. I hope you guys got something out of this as well. And
we love solving problems.
What it's left with me before you go is holy balls. Literally, I
love that.
So many different things. You know what I'm saying? It's when my team is 3 people, right? So it's so easy to just get stuck in your ways. And you guys like have gut checked me in a lot of ways. Said just kind of, you know what I mean? Just the new expertise has been super helpful. So I know you need to go, but just big thank you. And I hope this helped you guys in some way.
Yeah. Well, and before that, like, let people know where they can find you guys.
GetGotchies.com or SaveYourSack.com. Either one.
Very nice.
There you go.
SaveYourSack.com. It's the easiest one to sell. Just go to SaveYourSack.com.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, Vince, we appreciate you coming on. We'll get this uploaded tomorrow. And thank you, everybody, for watching.
All right. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.
Peace.